But before now, we don't try to get the mayor of Freedom City Council and able click for able come up to now because I believe the INSEF get a part for play, especially as we see the rain don't affect a lot of, I mean, the central business district, Freetown as a whole in the environs, and unable to get them, who don't try. Also don't try to get people from the disaster management people, well, then say they engage in several meetings and whatever, so that no stop the show. With that, we get somebody right there from the meteorological area where we can talk about the weather and maybe some of the effects and some of the things that we don't see happening. Well, I can say common sense now makes sense. We believe say most of the activities already happen so now human activity and the earth they give back. If we not disturb the earth, nothing already happen. So with that, my brother go say hi and good evening to viewers and listeners out there. Yes, boss, introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, viewers. Mina Gibrepaka, the Deputy Regional Head of Operations for the Israel Meteorological Agency, when agency with under the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change.
Okay. Well, so Gabriel, just tell me now when our agency then work.
Yeah, so just
before now we not say with the area about meteorological departments or whatever. So
okay, so one page back how we graduate. So definitely the Met Agency, firstly be established as the British West African Meteorological Services way back in 1849, very long year ago, in which Nain had been the head quarter for meteorological services for West Africa. And definitely those days it has to do with just measuring the weather parameters, say the rainfall, the sunshine, sunshine duration, say temperatures, several parameters we need to measure. And these services be also concentrated in the aviation wing.
Okay.
And we are in Gulf of Information, so pilot for takedown, takeoff, and then landing. And then 1961, of course, it became a department because British left, and then all different meteorological services and West Africa 61 department.
Is it independent?
Yeah, that's what I read, of course, from what we met within the agency. It is. So, and then 2017, because during 1961, some of us joined, and during 2010 and so, services were still there, but we'll be more concentrated than the. It be daily because during the Civil War, people will say we get a lot of infrastructure. I would start with, for example, the rainfall station. Salon began more than 150 rainfall stations across the country. The Bat Canoe, the Daru. During the war, they were destroyed. We are only left with only 2 stations.
Out of 100 and something?
Oh, yes. One was at the airport, the Leone International Airport, and then one within Amakini. So the other measurement that we started to take by then was, of course, it has to do with the before scales, because when you are trained, there are times you even have an instrument, but you forget an estimate which will happen, and also you have a satellite with around Sierra so then it's at the midday. Okay. So by then it was only concentrated for the airport.
So that's
and then thereafter now, Namika the council transition, we become an agency in 2017. I was saying now we don't get a lot of weather stations. So I will start first, we get what they call the synoptic weather station, enough for general weather.
Okay.
It's about waiting there for the temperature, the rainfall, the wind speed. We get around them. Firstly, we get it first. We get from a UN body, because we get UN body called World Meteorological Organization. Now then they go the standard operating procedures and guidelines in whatever medical services you're doing. So have it from them, and then UNDP also be help us. That was 2012-13. By then we had also another 8 automatic weather stations from UNDP, and then IFAD help us also with 8 for the agricultural sector. And then some years back, we don't get about 65 automatic rainfall stations and get with their diverse manual stations across. So I'll tell you, we don't get.
They're effective?
Oh yes, they're effective. That make why make we do the automatic? You don't even need a staff to be there.
Okay.
You just need to get a top up. And then the data they can directly in our head office. And now in fact, how they speak now, we just don't get back another 5 more stations they don't come. We'll drive for put across the country, and we are expecting to get up to 45 more weather stations.
How many stations sound like? Is it a build station or an equipment amount of the book now?
So like they are different. So like you have a kind of like a structure. We get a max, and then you get different sensors. Then you get sensor in just there for measure the temperature. You get sensor in for measure the soil temperature. And
depends
then
on the area or the whole country?
No, well, what we do, it depends on the economic zone.
Okay.
So like we don't map the country. So we don't say yana agricultural economic zone. So we make sure say get the agricultural stations there, and then get a resolution. So station we get a resolution, maybe go like for example 50 kilometers. So we don't say cover that particular area there. Okay. So there are other areas like the marine station were left out. We say we don't get 55 of them. We put them. Yes, about the sea, yes. In the measure like the wave height, high tide, low tide, the distance between the tide, what we call the wavelength itself, you know. We get the wind speed, the wind directions, and then a bump, and then of course, you go right now done, and government 12, now government 12, of course, even tag green, the Shenge, you know, we don't put an inside and the way we say they collect data. And then the other part will be saying very much critical. You can have these stations, you can have this data, so but you need to forget the for understand that data and then for processor. Yeah. It's just like me issue done also. If I ask you how was the rain say 2012, it will have for a page back. It's only numbers. If you want to compare last year now, it has to do with the numbers themselves. So one, we get the software. Of course, we call the numerical weather prediction software. We say it's a world class. So we have diverse. There are one we say, and all countries they use will get access to them. Only meteorologists have access to it, and we share with it through GTS. They look up. And then we get the other ABC is us for us, homegrown that we are using, and then there are others that are freely available online. Okay. And then the other aspect has to do with staff that are trained. So a trained personnel, and the good for the viewers, they know say meteorology now is a specialized profession, just like we get medical course, we also get license. And under the UN body also, not also they do meteorology, you get a regional center, like you get Nigeria, you get the UK under. So like good enough like Salon, we get people that don't train in UK. Okay. You recently some man from Niger and so we get staffs, the WBC they will do the needed services. So now they provide service to the aviation on a 24-hour basis. 35 staffs are there. They produce also service to the agricultural sector. There's some key zones then we don't map and to all sides across the country because you know they provide weather forecast in an area we don't get a weather station. It will just be like an estimate of what you're doing. And then also, we provide the hydromet, we that did weather forecast, got to do with flooding, and also do like projections. So
what do you call that? Hydronet?
Hydromet. The hydromet. Okay. They do also projections like when we develop policies, and also people that want to try for plan themselves. So people run a model for tell you say in the next 30 years, in the next 40 years, how the temperature will turn like, how the rainfall will turn like under 2 threshold. The 4th threshold we call that the business as usual. That will be the continuum for cut down trees and other things. Waiting to happen. It about this also on the population size, the land use, and then we get the other facet. We normally what we can do. We look at the climate smart approach. That is like all the good policies that we have in the country that has to do with climate change, the trim plants and other things. So if people then do as to how we don't put inside the document, how it will look like. So
so let's talk the practical part of because make it like the practical part of because sometimes even the policies that we talk about, so they're not can be practical. So let's talk the practical part of on our own job. We're not the practical part of because getting those informations, how then they reach the people, how the people they take this information and which forms when they take for disseminate the information.
Yeah. So definitely they start first with the policy. The policy have to guide UT go for do. So for reinforce, go for get the policy, get this SOP. So a staff cannot just walk into the office and start doing. You have a step-by-step method you're going to do before you get back. So the practical aspect, you get the weather forecast, you go to the public. And then when it comes to the warning, the first thing we have to do normally with the duty and an assessment. Because you need to assess first the area, the community, and see how they're vulnerable. For example, we go in our area, you measure the width of the drainage system, how does it look like, and then due to what they expect from when the rain come, you're going to the runoff. With that, they will give a kind of a risk to the people them. And then also, some time back, we don't do an assessment where we don't identify areas them where they get a particular climate risk. Because I guess on that side, they will be say, we know say they are prone to flooding. So you see, so put and they will say this area is prone to flooding. And then the areas we say are strong, we put and there is so strong winds. So side will be say maybe you get a runoff, or maybe for example you get rough water they come and then they affect people there. So we they do the information, so they send out to the public, and information packed where they discuss so we get of course if you look back doing the guidelines for the under UN body, they get their own way for use. We also use the localized aspect of it. One is the social media handles, you know, like we use that because like you have the Facebook, and then you also get say your Twitter, you have your LinkedIn, and the bloggers are doing so much well. I want to say thanks to them because there are people that will monitor. The moment they see information is very critical, they kind of like screenshots and then they push onto the project.
Is it positive or then say like anything way? Because with always thing that happen within Freetown means, well, just one side of it, like I said earlier on, disaster management people and all the way get to do the enforcement part of it. How people take the information are serious, take into consideration the problems that people face now, we all get to do the weather.
So impressively, I would tell you, when I post like me, I like social media. I did check it because the feedback, I always people they say, we like the feedback. Let's get all the difficult questions because they help a lot improve with service, so they grow again. So like the first one we give forecast, people had problem with the jargons within the forecast. So what do we do? Of course, with the help of, for example, say scattered cloud, 23 degrees Celsius, all of those things. You know, people have a problem. Well, see, sorry, because that was the thing, like all about they do. Because what was that? We got to go out and people made them understand. Yeah. You go to UK. They don't focus on impression bars. But why they understand that? Because they don't do a lot of sanitization, but they don't understand them. You go to China, they get the way. They're up there. Yeah. So what do? We select some CSOs, some journalists, and then of course we get with colleague expert then from the UK Met Office, World Bank also, and they hire an expert. And there was no right around disabled. We tell the journalists when they tell we how the focus was. Okay. We receive a lot of comments, negative, positive ones.
Which one is negative?
I always take the positive ones, you know, because the negative one, the negative one always try for feedback because the only negative one they tell about was that one, this information too technical. How we break them down? Then we ask them how I wanted to break them down, and then they suggest and say in a plain language, and they go for be short and sweet, and not for be longer. And then they say even some of the parameters there, local and commodity. We accepted, for example, you know, so like the rainfall. We put rainfall inside, the cloud height, you know, we put, for example, the wind speed, the wind directions, we put dew point inside. So they say it's a lot. For them, what do they need? They need the temperature and then they need the rainfall. So we sit down and then we validate them. Now we look inside the weather forecast, we test waiting. Partly cloudy, high chance of rain. What they say high chance of rain, you know, say for example, yes, rain they come. Because you don't look at the system and say, yes, it got for come. You see medium chance of rain, you see another system say it come. When you say low chance of rain, that they tell you say, you know the apple, you know say I'm fine. You see about, you know they show too much.
So low chance mean,
no, you know they say no. But that medium high, it's like if you look within the model says, yes, there's a high sanctity of it happen.
So when are the high chance of rain?
So the high chance of rain, like we don't look inside the model, you see say they get no plenty around, like you see like you have like 95%, you have like 5% or something that happen.
It means that from the common man means it
happen.
Come.
So when it comes to the Bokuri now, that's with the quantifier. For example, you need to look into the time lapse putter because we divide that into 3 segments. The one that starts from 6 o'clock every day PM, then they end 6 a.m. because that is the dark hours. So you watch yes, so you don't see what's up inside that period. Then from 6 a.m. until 12 o'clock, again, there's something that happens there. And then from that 12 now to 6 again, there's something happens. So you go to plan yourself. So you go know say if there's high chance of rain, there's no chance of rain, no say where a small period no more did it. But if you no say, we'll say rain they count that period, which means within those period, it's gonna happen.
So sometimes I can see when they say east, north, east and south and all that kind of stuff. Somebody in Freetown, how are you able to know them directions? Then?
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So, like, you know, so when you talk to the breeze, they come because if they can't cause rain, people know how it come up. I may say not to east or west, but we know say the sun always start the graph from which side? From the east
come to
the west, and then they move towards what? The north. So now because always all over the country, don't say they know they get a lot of sun. So if you cut down trees, then they get a lot of dry here. So yeah, so like even with like if I go to a new area where I do observation, there's no weather station. I wake up in the morning, see how the sun they come out and how they move. I've known my east, my west,
because you get
and my south.
You get knowledge about
but this is until DJ base. Honestly, I'll tell you, we don't train people on that. For me to understand. You go to some areas, somebody even they use stick, let that cross. For me, no say what's that they come out, and then they will take the actions. In fact, now we want to try to go into the beyond because I want to try to do impact-based forecast. So we are in one. You get a particular area, and then you get a kind of like a particular structure we don't mark. So people don't say, okay, this side is saying it's not the dots. This side says it's not the west and the other area. But this has to be a permanent structure. Normally, like what you do, you use like them big tick then, like them quantity tick there. So then people they go no. So that's what for do. And also the impact focus also basically go for do a lot of if this happen, how many households it got for be affected. So those are things we try for do. But it has to do with a lot of education.
Of course, a lot of education. Now that make I decide for bring you on this show.
And thank you so much for that. Yeah.
From one own part, what's one of things say they cause this Boku flooding, this rain within this BNSO they can say? I would tell you, say, oh, you said got good, Mr. A lot of people say, rain don't can this see Boku even more than some other times. The while the rain they carry and the pan like then the beats the pan.
Yes, exactly. So
what's the cause all that?
So what's the cause now? The land use changed, which is what they call the people that they use the land. You understand? Which how you they build. How you they plan the land, you culverts. Now they cause most of the problems when it comes to the localized flash flood, like the urban induced flooding. There. Now they cause most of them to there. I will tell you, say for now, bundle record, there is a amount of rainfall at Freetown. But the problem with Freetown,
Why?
No, it does say burnt and Freetown. In fact,
I don't know if I've been
no, okay, what did happen? Like burnt and Freetown, they're at the coastal area.
Okay.
So the coastal area is by the sea.
Yeah.
So during the dry season, you know, so they get a lot of evaporation, you get water vapor in the atmosphere. You know, so during the rainy season, what did they happen? Where they get a drop in temperature. So the moment there's a sharp drop in temperature, the water vapor they cause condensation, they come together, so they get a lot of rain. Okay. So the coastal areas, they always get a lot of rain in that area. So burnt, we don't record say they get a lot of rain. So you go for do also with some other science behind the convection. They are putting a lot.
So get the same thing?
Yeah, the coastal area, you're saying the back and the coastal area. So they get that. But you know, say those days, when I check back with data, there are times you only record, even 2017, 15, July rainfall was more than what we've recorded. But you know, say because of the land use, we only build a lot. The cover no go for maybe take the put it to a dirty, now the gutter. So all of them things then.
And that's why you side only for it.
No, yeah. So we on side, you know, division of labor.
Yeah.
So we now like service provider to people there.
So now they have to get problem now with you guys or certain institutions, organizations working together. Because one of the give one the weather forecast, so I believe someone have work with disaster managed people and also work with the Minister of Lands because then they issue building permits. So people because building, they cause a lot of problems. We therefore affect, climate change as a whole.
So with this one, I think there had been a collaboration because that's the more reason 2019 they established the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. I would say the Met agency will be under the Ministry of Transport and Aviation. Okay. And we know see disaster management be under ONS, other Office of the Presidency, and other areas. For example, EPA be the other Office of the President. But with the establishment, the mission say all environmental related institutions will be under the Ministry of Environment. So which means, in fact, now we get a monthly meeting, of course, with the minister. Also, they get like coordination meeting among agencies then, and then also like disaster management agencies. I would tell you, for example, before ever we issue, for example, an alert to the public, we don't discuss that under the disaster management. They don't see them. For the forecast, he said they don't call it. He said, waiting to happen for the next 1 day or 2 days, and they don't see her. So the coordination is there, but you understand, and definitely going forward, this is something. I say, I've discussed with Mr. Sinena and NDM. I say, I'm so much impressed because when I see the volume of water we record, and then the land, the land and the culverts there. I think people that don't take a lot of responsibility, and also disaster. And disaster. I will tell you this amount of rainfall. Never mind disaster, for example. You don't count how much people they will die because it depends on who side they meet you.
Exactly. We
don't see the hazards. So these hazards depend if we don't take some actions there. You know, like just like NDM, they get a lot of volunteers around the country. Before thing that they get a toll free line. So before it happen, they don't call. There will be issue back the seasonal outlook to them. Say risks of flooding. There's this will happen.
So you think
there was some clean that happened.
We not get better rain this month?
No, this month.
Compared to last year, now that's a trap.
No, this month and last month because the month not done it because right now like we don't record up to 1,000 and some hundreds of millimeter.
So how would I do that? How would I do that for know the level of the water from the ground? How can get that statistics?
Okay, well, that the rain gauge will get. We'll get the automatic rain gauge. We be say no even get need for get staff there. So automatically as they go there, you get the tip bucket. The tip, as they tip, it send a signal. One tip will be 0.5 millimeters. So the more the tip, we get that automatically. As you Google, I go inside the portal and see them. They go to the manual rain gauge in like a kind of like a bucket or so, like a funnel, like it get all the different measurements. Then we be say as again they can with the watcher. If I now be don't use it for some of the vulnerable areas, then we get volunteers there. We give them one of them cups then because now Freetown do the assessment. We observe in Freetown when you get 20 millimeters of rain within an hour, and it's still raining, flooding take place.
It not depend on the how we put on the Boku rain or the small rain. Is it?
When that 20 millimeters within an hour, it takes that rain they don't Boku because now small rain they can. Now they maybe.
But again, say the rain they come. Some they way heavy, some they way small. So how do they know that?
That is a natural effect. So how do you know? For example, when you record a rainfall around, let's say from from 0.1 to 0.5, we call them trace rain.
Okay.
You don't need them. It can display. Then when you measure now, like from 1 onto up to, like, for example, the 20 millimeters of rain, a light rain.
Right.
You get that we say than strong and heavy rains and all that. So you get the threshold we say each and every country comply to. So,
okay. So we can watch some videos, but before that, you think say, I mean, the information that they give to people, the weather pattern know the change. Now in the affect which will they see so now or now the activities of the people.
So no, it's the human activities, because there are a lot of academic articles being published and look through. Even if now the rainfall, the cumulative, everything compared to 30 years what happened, it's still done than the total amount of rainfall. So it got to do with how would they use the land.
Is it not natural? Because from what they come up with, they say mostly we hear about June 1970 something where breeze and wind come. June, July, August. Now, is it natural that them months and then the months with heavy rain they come, or we can say back September they come because is it natural or is it still by the human activity or the weather pattern?
Okay, well the natural effect like for the month them, that can inside also the model itself,
okay.
The climatology, which means during the dries, you know, the dries they end by then April, so you don't get a lot of, for example, water in the atmosphere. You can't to May. And they get few drops because you know it's a revolution. That thing they just the temperature they drop, but they drop sharply.
Okay.
Now small it they drop. So when it comes at June, definitely don't get boku water. So it increase.
Okay.
And then also when it comes to July, they increase. And then August they record a lot of rain. Then October now because of light rain, September now they get a lot of torrential rains. English because but September is known for strong breeze because the breeze when you see the cloud, when beside the form. For May rain comes away, in the clear, the breeze. Maybe for example, like when you go to the traditional, they say if somebody see the cloud with dark, it's again they come. Now that one inside the science, we they see and say na super cool water today. So if there is anything, we don't see a dark place. If there is no strong wind, we don't say rain they come. But if there is strong wind, it can like a droplet. But these are already see the science already capture within, and then we can look use that in the public.
Well, it's just a suggestion. How best to able meet take into consideration the literacy rate in Sierra Leone? Go disseminating the information into local languages, let people even know well. I know now we're going to meet expert like for say today, better again go car within this time, don't want to get the 6 to 6, whatever. Our people gonna say okay from morning because in other part of the world, like you mentioned, the UK, I mean, they radio station and they tell about the weather. So you get prepared, whether for use umbrella, whether outside snow will come. So how are we able to disseminate the information set so the ordinary people way. Again, it comes to enforcement, so not another problem about maybe we're not giving all these informations.
So like if I always what we do, then we could get like different staffs, we get people that be say that communication specialists there.
Okay.
So in fact, then they help with because like we you know the expertise, you know the expert normally things that you know like me. So but the communication person, I know always help we follow broke down into an understandable manner. Sometimes if we get hire an experts, look at the system. What if you say follow the public? You know, say within communication, say they get a lot of channels say they communicate with people, so that they would use already. So now, in fact, I will tell you, say, now we could improve. One, when we issue the weather forecast, we don't change them to a simpler version. We even come again, we use a kind of a symbol to the public, which is there. And now, recently now, people don't request for audio, of which the audio they go to the public. And now also we want to start for rollouts under the, of course, now the like the Matru and the Bond and other areas them. For staff, for they use the town criers. This is something we are discussing to see also how can we use them. But what we normally do for the literacy rate is that one, we try for missions to communicate on the local language. Like Bonds, they can do another local language. There are other areas where we do on the local language, so the Namende, Creole, and other things there. Right. So what would we try for? I remember Tombo several years back, they were issuing now the weather forecast we get to there in what? In the team version. Okay. So now we try to forget the expert, the people there will be say like, we know this person understands this language very much. And they give. But already now we do it in some of the language, like Creole, in very common, and normally we push to the public.
Right. We can watch some videos, but before that, you think, say, the message that we have done, the disseminating, maybe whether it's sensitization, conscientizing people, creating awareness, with the way I don't see the flooding and the Agbadis 2-3 weeks, so this from June where it starts. You think say people really don't get on a message or they don't understand the message?
I think people don't get the message. Because I know when people don't get the message, you'll be all over the news. You'll be all over there. I remember people push an AYV tweet, AYV even reference mate, and it was here. You understand? And then you get the other bloggers and the reference mate, you understand? And then we are there. So the message is getting there. And then where we check with the volunteers, we get volunteers a lot across the country, we check with them, and then because then say also that because the moment we see an alert, we make sure to call 1 or 2 volunteers.
All right.
How what is happening in your area? You don't put your information to the public, but you know, see definitely when it comes to informations, me go agree say you can't get 100% correct.
Okay, so before we can watch them stop them digging, so just click on my mind. What's in the cause tender and lightning?
Okay, so thunder and lightning got to do with instability in the atmosphere, where the atmosphere is unstable, like dry air and then cool air, they come on instability. Normally convection back in causa, you get different cloud they come together. So when they come, for example, together, the heat itself, the sound they come on, and then there's a light. But when they come to we first, not the light, because light they travel faster than sound. So
we see the lights and the tender area.
The year later, yes, now because of that one. So now they normally we get normally see now during season more you get the tender because the more you get unstable atmosphere, you know. Okay. Sometimes you rain the cancer, sometimes they get this cloud type way dark, yeah, this cloud type. So the minute they come together, normally it can cause them one and day.
All right. Okay. Maybe I'll add this back because sometimes when I talk, this thing just click come in. As an expert, there's a saying, of course, in Salobon, whether you don't go Babylon or come back, they can say lightning, they kill people. Is that true?
Yeah, of course. You know, there is this scientific find that there are some ions within. And then definitely now that's make you see we get you building.
Even people using mobile phones out there.
So now like for example, just like we get you building, now people they build, they get for example to the earth in the house. So if there's any, for example, leakage, whatever that comes an ion, you go try for fill.
When there are a lot of houses will not get earth.
But I'm pretty sure that I mean if you say like it's mandatory because if you say like you have experts, we be saying electrician.
But a lot of houses they will not. You can find a lot of buildings they will not.
But if you say it's happy because I don't say a lot. So we say people because people they buy the admin they are available and then you get the experts. So except maybe has to do with you, the particular electrician you will get because if you get a person who say it's sound in area, definitely it go earth in place.
You can't then about. So you say a lot of houses in this country, I don't give percentage because not doing statistics that a lot's not earth. But anyway, let's watch some of them videos of recent activities.
This other side now Charles Street, Thunder Street, Charles Street Junction. Kẹ̀kẹ́ gbé mi àgbà.
Built near the Tahkulu or the wind farm in southwest Finland, which is being used to reduce bird strikes.
All you are telling the commodities that I want to.
This one for no back of Bowit Street. That big way on I go and sign it. People were trying to cover. Say the other house them front all long way. If an emergency when it's be a big government I take motor. You attack you ain't so heavy now, you ain't so heavy. The people are also and then go to. But I don't go inside people on the killer. You know that people when they're sitting at the do, and the children see they have wow.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Here, as you see regents by Boys Society, the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Here, it's not funny, hello, not funny. Go by up regent, you don't see, by Boys Society. See, it's a Boys Society.
Because it has to do with, for say, they have to be very careful. There's a high chance of waiting flash flood because you don't record a particular rainfall of 400 and something millimeters. Because the threshold, the threshold, the threshold, no, this one for this particular period, not for the whole month. Now just that period, because why we issue before ever you issue warning to the public when it comes to meteorology, and now casting is falling. And now casting are like, if you don't observe the trend of the rainfall to a particular threshold, they push out to the public. So with the monitor, when it hits that threshold,
when
that one
this
something.
Warning, when? How many months back? Let's go back a little bit.
No, where there are a lot. So maybe the warning, indifferent from the outlook. The outlook was just like a complexion. Let me take action.
No, the warning.
So the warning, it has to be the event happening. So the warning was issued hours before to the public.
Last week? Week before last?
Like for example, you know, remember the one that was saying on the very Saturday, we issued the warning.
That's the day
and then Sunday,
and then
Sunday, like for the Sunday game, first Sunday, we issued the warning, even up to the span, we give it length onto the cell where they go. Because you only issue the warning when you don't see the rain. The first thing, we don't send the rain to public, we say, now the weather forecast. That's the warning. It was there, captured that there's a high chance of rain. It's a warning. So the next phase is now action. And the action phase, in that inside meteorological side, has to do with the nowcasting. You go for the monitor your rain gauge to a particular threshold. Because the moment you don't get a particular threshold of 20 millimeters an hour, and it is still raining, then you for push to the public, because after 3 hours, you must get the effect of that. So push and through flooding, and definitely it's not to say we don't tell people that, because there's nowhere except otherwise in the world. We've seen it. That you go give a flood forecast 2 days ahead now. Because it has to do with the localized effect. It has to do with how they use the land. Because if today I don't say, for example, let's say 1 month ago you don't do seasonal outlook, you say you go forget flooding. That one was based with the current assessment you do. If people they don't clean the drainage, they come and then place them there, then maybe water will flow. But what of now maybe you don't issue out, then tomorrow someone can build and the water away. So yes, yeah, with the recommendations, and then we also always do, for example, an assessment. Like now by Saturday, we and NDMA we go to assessment jointly. We look at the science part of it for see how the road don't look like, how the gutter look like, and other area with the slope, and they'll look into the system again, how August go for look like, and they'll try for updates the warning. And they will update the recommendation. Because these are the update, just like the forecast. When they give the forecast to the public, let's say I don't give the forecast to the public, say they're going to expect one so and so thing. There's also a mandate for updates and on the specie. If there's a slight change within the system, so that people will take the necessary actions. You know, in fact, I very much common like to the pilots. We give them like 48 hours. Instead of 48 hours, you try for update at 6 hours, you update at 3 hours. In fact, they send back 30 minutes, so that it will be very much effective and efficient. Now that, for example, we know when it comes to the flow forecast, we make it within a particular period, we will give that information to the public.
So like today, so Wednesday. I mean, when will I get forget the next weather forecast? A week, a day, or depending, like I say, on the
where the weather forecast will go to the public now, a daily weather forecast will send to the public. Again, for example,
we're looking at weekly or 2-3 days before.
Where the weekly and 3 days now for like internal consumption and also for disaster management consumption.
Guide the public?
Well,
get themselves prepared.
Well, the reason it has to do also with the people, because the weekly not really updates. So there are people, for example, we say, and they have complaints for other people there, we can get them weekly. But to the public, you need to forget, for example, the acceptance for the people, they made acceptance. You cannot just be updating the forecast to them. And they made they lost trust to her. So under the SOPs, the only focus that goes the only one that goes to the public. So now that's why the 1 hour is okay. I mean the 1 day is okay. That is 24 hours that goes to the public. So it's the 1 hour they go to there, and then the seasonal outlook also they push out to the public.
So Thursday tomorrow, what would they expect? How would they expect?
Well, that one they will be available, of course. The focus ongoing. Yes, before they by 5 o'clock, because they push them 5 o'clock. And then it starts for work from 6 o'clock. So it's at 5 o'clock, so it's at 1 hour. You go down here, waiting the happen through. So you can prepare yourself. Just like yesterday, we'll be the forecast yourself.
Prepare Packer.
Oh yeah.
1 day.
Where that has to do the model.
Maybe if we get 2-3 days, people go.
Well, that is the thing where we say the model will be very accurate. So, but does that when you look at the forecast, we get outside and get the summary. we can get a summary of what we expect with it in a written format. Say across the country, as also in the happen in the next 2-3 days, there are also amount of rainfall around. We don't go into the details, the nitty-gritty for people, but there is a summary. In fact, now one try for also they pull a summary for 7 days because the summary will go for 7 days for the farmers. Because farmers only need 7 days for gather summary. May they plan the farming activities. So you're seeing that for the public.
People,
no, definitely. But it get effect also. So but it has to be just like an outlook.
Maybe if people get on, they go able to help themselves or even go work maybe earlier on time, because let's say a lot of people this morning, I believe, go work because the rain starts in the morning, well, to my area.
Yeah, back same time,
all of a sudden now, before they come inside town, up to this time they come. So maybe giving people a notice before time.
That's why you have, for example, the seasonal outlook. When we started this thing, in fact, every year, the dry and the rain, even during the dry season, people they say we even issue out with pollution. When it does be in the atmosphere, we push up. We even issue for the heat. We even issue out extreme heat. We are even start to collaborate with even FCC with the Senate.
Because that's be another issue. We don't call people. They say, the sun they warm too much.
Yes, they warm too much. Yeah. So climate change is there. One,
you cut down.
Yes, so the reason, for example, yes, so the reason that you don't cut down the trees. You don't cut down the trees. They use old vehicles. The dust then we get the greenhouse gases there. So the greenhouse gases, so we get at the atmosphere they call the ozone layer, and they protect you from the periphery of the sun. It's all very warm. So that greenhouse gases, it go act with the ozone, so the ozone become depleted.
Where we they play with and live with every time. So for example, even the things so then they pull from overseas, the fridge them, the air conditions. I believe so themselves gets a lot of. I mean, even the old cars them also from other part of the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Where we not get standard like some other country gets, you get a cut-off line for certain vehicle for into that country. Whilst we now, I mean, Boku man they go taking Boku Mosca for normal label, pull people, but forget about the danger part of it. Then smoke, they know they come out way. It causes the
so like I will tell you, say, like for example, now there are a lot of policies where we don't develop and we roll out. I know now.
Like I said, those policies.
I know so you can answer because people don't say policy, but people have to not always say this. I always say this on any side. In any government institution, you always start working when there's a policy because it's going to guide you what you're going to do.
For work also.
When institutions are using, for example, let's say the one the cap, we get the National Action Plan and the NDC. The NAP now a mandate for each and every country around the world. Forget that. So that is like climate change that affects you. Now what you want to do in the short and long time so that you go for it call. For example, you say NAMIC will start for give a recommendation of what tree planting. Government you don't start for rollouts. For example, the planting of the 5 million trees. We don't roll out. You don't see, for example, the filter and trees. Some people that get their own small NGOs, they are planting their trees, and they'll get another expert, for example, try to see like cutting down the emission of greenhouse from the sources. But people that no say the climate change that affects you are not no more, like a global effect. Yeah, but if again, America they emit a lot more. Even if we go to zero, it affects us. Now that's when at the global level they don't cut down the trend.
Yeah, but we forget a lot for help playing affects with our way.
And when we
because America and then China then get more things than we because the big part of it holistically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But within we small environment, small Sierra Leone need for make sure so we plant more trees. We able make sure say we not build outside.
So like one aspect about that, see for example the Met Agency, Buoyants and other institutions, because all of this came from a recommendation. I remember the first NAPA will get as a policy, the first recommendation that the Met Department for become an agencies with added responsibility and instrument them. When you watch within the NAPA 7 policy, the recommendation was what? Not get more weather stations and made the information would go to the public. Because if climate change happen, how can they adapt? Let the information go to
So having more weather stations is just one part. To me, the problem I get is how the information they reach to the public and how the public also act on the information.
Yeah.
Because to some extent, people that get information and they act on until trouble be. In Sierra Leone now, say all them videos are always in the happen so. You can see people they say now get some hey, government help with this, that. After the game's all done, people forget about it.
But I just tell you initially, like when I start saying, when you come to communication, already there's a blueprint, how to communicate everywhere. But also we use by the local form. So don't use the social media and other areas, educating people. Like I will continue. Just like what they are, so people are also learning on
one
things
other way
to
again,
do.
maybe you get some, but where I think saying another point where you go help in disseminating the information or working, having an MOU with mobile companies, radio stations, like you mentioned, few radio stations, because in other part of the world, when it comes to radio stations, they give you weather forecast. In fact, this is just different from what we discussed. If accident happen, let's say like Eastern, You get radio, they would say, so around Eastern, Muscadon,
Broke like that, that's
so maybe one thing where go help is working with the mobile companies and radio stations also. Social media is just one part, but say the mobile company, for example, when they send message to, I mean, when they send message, it goes to all the subscribers.
So just like that, like just take trigger in also. One is all when it comes to radio stations. We get radio station, we get MOU with. You know, with the reader, for example, of course, we all know the Star TV, for example, the Capital Radio. Because yes, you know, they talk and they understand. For example, Radio Bontico, Gena McKinney, the LCBC.
Maybe I'm encouraging you for making with AYV because you get to watch the broader space than the reach.
No, indeed, I will tell you, say for we want to try for cover each and all radio stations the follow MOU. But you know what happened? I will tell you, we use that means I say very good like we the policy and also they interact. Firstly, radio stations not be want for even the issue out the weather forecast. When we issue then they are always saying that you have to pay.
Of course.
But when we start to do a training of journalists in the office so we call them, we train them this year. Then they started picking it up.
Yeah.
Some 4 years,
because
5 years back. They pick up. If someone comes to me, for example, tell you,
need journalists away for know about weather.
In fact, they come, they say, we read that for each freely.
Okay.
People, they are not paid, they say freely. Oh, and then we are happy about that.
Okay.
Freely. Even now, for example, there was a time we say, Orange can pick up information and text that to people them. And also, I think we even started a discussion with also an Orange, where they wanted us also for go into partnership, for example. Then that focus will go to people them. So we are in, you have whatever thing you can press, and they get information, and then people they act on anything. So like this is a work of progress, and definitely now the emergency we always say people we like the comment, we like all the toughest questions, because we know say we don't sign for do this rule, and it will be good for you as a responsible citizen for make sure they do the work to the best of possible as you can do. And now that's make we like feedbacks, because the feedbacks they help with a lot more so that go for it. And I make for example with PRO, now I'm glad we get with PRO, and because they not get the weather related experts, not a weather person, not a PRO. Other institutions are gonna just like the science person is there. It always a guide way. There are times where they do the weather forecast, they go just ask you, waiting at this tier. Waiting at this tier, and then when we go, we change it through, and then we don't sign an MOU with institutions, so we continue. Just as you said, for example, the AYV, definitely I think there's a work in progress with the AYV. Started discussion with some of the management before. I remember there are several staffs here. Whenever the rain is coming, I know how our phones are ringing, and then the questions that they ask.
All right, okay, Fambul again, this is Hot Seats, and Minamama Jalos to the DJ base. One watch the last set of videos, then we try to wrap up with that together. Brother man right there, Packer from the Meteorological Agency, Usai.
Well, as you can see, this now Miami. We get a house now with the dirty don't cut. Bring our clothes, now we neighbor them. And the dirty don't cut, they don't can cover the house. As you can see. The rain where they come over gaps in there, it's too much. Fence they don't for them, people they host they for damage. They're not really easy. They're not really easy as soon as they see. This house don't finish. As you see the big stone where they pass up the house. They don't finish. Don't move, this house can down.
The place, the community, this upground Colbert community. Now we see no more Pambulem. Papa government, you are tired of flood the pavio, papi. Papa government, they have the big for help. Because you are tired of come. Also all on cover. Also all on cover, don't cover the also we see no more. This now the road people they pass on at the bridge of Colbert. And then you are tired of flood, so don't take over. Après, on a sinon, the host, all are salé par là. Après, on a big for help. The big. Et sinon, on a attaqué go. On va attaquer the place now.
Ura. Uncle for no Uda Biola. Anthony. Anthony Uncle for Yana be the cause enough. Anthony got the coaxa. Ask Anthony get Uncle for.
You remember village, eh? A village now remember too. Francis. Francis, how we inside it? I forgot it.
That's it. Now take time.
You see the water? Don't go.
About the aviation and maybe the sea witch is also important. We could for talk about that. Whenever the build my mama here, I remember sometimes I've been good at the same. He puts a machine for look the weather. It's still there, or you get any information about that?
It's there. In fact, now we put the machine there.
Okay.
So of course it's still
so
there.
Connected to giving the.
So of course they give data around them particular areas them there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So finally, now we think we want to everybody will be watching, they listen to you. We don't see some of the destructions that will happen. This all get to do with the weather and the climate.
So one is, let people know, say, the Met Agency, like scientific institution, we get experts and specialized institutions, so we always use the best available science and for giving information to them. And then, which would the appeal is that when the information comes to them, may they act on them. And also, they request them that whenever you get any doubt in anything that we send to you, send the feedback. And when you send the feedback to it will make you watch them and then you get on that. So we did on Facebook, we did on Facebook, we be able to use them and they're giving kind of office everything Charlotte Street on a Tower Hill. We did across the country, we did of course Kenema, other areas there. Okay. You can and then we get with your website www.sma.gov.sl. You go there, there's a number that you can see there, and then you just check we out, that's gonna be fine. And now we even try to get now a weather forecasting studio. We're under construction and the Tower Hill office. Where we want maybe in time to come, like every Friday, we give the weather for the week. We that happen in most countries, invite journalists and others. So like when you enter, like we got the studio, when you enter, you see it's crazy about how rain they waka, how this temperature they and all that. This is something they do because one try for say at least we don't require service for make sure say we'll be resilient to climate change.
Okay. So again, lastly, the way we see the water district, what are the cause?
So like I don't think it's the water itself, for example, the convection itself don't happen a lot. You don't get a lot of dries during the dry season. You get late rains. Because you don't get late rains, we put inside we seasonal outlook. You don't get a lot of water vapor, sharp drop in temperature. They cause a lot of condensation, and then the rain can onto we. Right. If the rain comes to you, definitely the land use area is fine, the water area is fine. Definitely you got a free flow. You know, just like for example, you page back maybe in the 80s, the 90s, everything be there in the camp. I remember when they go school those days. Why they go school? I found like when they sleep because are they able to sleep enough. So they you know they go say, no, they can't. Data than they.
Heavy.
Yes, data than that. They tell you honestly, they are data.
Oh, because of you know what you don't tap in the areas.
The only the only thing I'll tell person is the emotion. You know go page back now. Now they see the number. And what you want to say because if we don't see a lot of exchanges there on social media, go plot a graph like for the past 30 years. Let me see how the rainfall pattern will look like. Okay. But now we'll tell you, say, even if rain comes less within an hour or so, but because of the land use and climate change, it will affect a lot of people.
All right. So, okay, I think I'll go all that one day for the land use, again, climate change, because other parts must affect you. But what will we able to do for prevention here?
So the prevention expand a lot. So one go for do with the short term when the adaptation, climate change is happening, how can we adapt? So if you did around the sea areas, for example, get seed bag or ocean dike so that the water get overflow because sometimes we let's say 5 meters or whatever meters away, but where it can affect you because it don't flood. And then the other aspect of it also the roofing itself because we also get strong prevalent winds, especially the coastal areas na freetown. So people the need for the ask the Met Agency not the wind direction so that you will know the type of the direction of the roofing. Okay. Not all kind design the work also. You see this design, you can just take a clear angle, and then also the structural reforms. Maybe say for example the engineer they go for advice. You go for example before ever you build, you need to check the soil and see whether you go for almost story building. Exactly. So inside say maybe in a loose area, you go put two structure, you go affect. There are a lot go through.
All right, thank you very much, Director, Deputy Director Namet. We appreciate we right here tonight for talk about this, the weather pattern or the weather forecast